Hello, whiskey pack ratters. Welcome to Whiskey Whistle. I'm your host, Mark, and this is whiskey review number 134. Just a few days before Christmas in 2016 here. And many of you may be looking for a bottle of something, either to enjoy yourself or to give as a gift or to enjoy with your friends at a party or something. Now, here is one of the most popular single malt whiskey brands around, the Macallan. This comes from Edrington. That's the name of the company, the large company that owns the brand. And well, everybody is very, very happy that they've decided to put this little sticker back on the bottle again, showing that it's 12 years old, because it had been absent for a period of time. Now, they haven't quite gotten back to the point that they want to be, I think. I believe because of demand, or so they say. This may, well, who knows? Anyway, possibly because of demand, the original 12-year-old, which is this one over here, had disappeared from many a shelf. In fact, most of Europe, most of North America, and I think leaving only Asia, a few spots in Asia where the number is so important, still have it. In fact, you can still get this one here in Seoul, South Korea. Anyway, so it was gone for a while. They replaced it with something, and most people felt that it was inferior. Anyway, they have brought it back. They brought back the 12-year-old. This is a slightly different version. This one is called a double cask, right? Yes, the double cask. Now, you may be thinking, oh, well, that's better than a single cask, isn't it? Well, that all depends. Let's just get this poured, shall we? Another tight cork. It seems like Edrington uses really, really top quality corks in their whiskeys. And I've got the Macallan official Glencairn glass to pour it in. So let's get it poured. All natural in color. This one's 40%. I think I need a little more than that. It's been a long day. There we go. 40% ABV, which is pretty standard for these big brands. This one is number 3, I believe, the third biggest brand of single malt whiskey in the world, at least by sales. Certainly not by production. Okay, so anyway, color-wise, it's got a nice bright golden hue. It's great to know that's natural. That's pretty much, again, an Indian gold, or perhaps getting into a slightly copperish tone, isn't it? So quite nice to look at. And looks great against a white background. Can I show that to you? Yes, I can. There you are. Okay. For the Macallan die-hard drinkers, of which there are many, I suggest that you do get a bottle of this one, and you do so, first of all, because you love Macallan, and secondly, because even though it's different than the original 12-year-old, it is still a very good quality whiskey. And my suggestion when you do get a bottle and get it open and pour yourself a glass is to take your time. Be patient with this one because it does change quite a bit over time. 12 years old, so we should give it 12 minutes before we taste it. Of course, I'm not going to make you wait that long. That's why I've got notes. So now, well, what about chill filtering? Well, there's no information on the bottle given. It's 40% ABV and it's crystal clear. So I'll let you make your own decision as to that one. Okay. Let's get onto the nose. We'll have a short word from the YouTube. The YouTube sponsors right here. Welcome back. All right, onto the nose for the Macallan Double Cask. 12 years old, 40% ABV, all natural in color. See, now it's really interesting. When I first stuck my nose in it just a few minutes ago, I couldn't recognize this as Macallan. It tasted like a different sherry matured. This is all sherry matured, by the way. 100% sherry matured. It is not 100% European oak sherry matured. So there's, well, half and half, roughly, I would say. This says here, matured exclusively in the perfect balance of sherry-seasoned American and European oak casks. Sherry seasoned, what does that mean? That means that sherry has been matured in the cask for a period of, it looks like a minimum of 2 years. Now, interestingly, I recently went to a very, very lovely, excellent event put on by Highland Park, Edmonton, Korea. And there was a very special guest, and I mentioned that last time. That was Martin Markvardsen of Denmark. He is the global brand ambassador for Highland Park. And he told us a lot about the amazing work that Edmonton is doing to ensure that they have the best casks possible for the future. So they have a cooperage in Spain, and they get a particular strain of oak. I forget the which one that is, and what they do is that they cure the wood for the period of time. I think that takes a couple of years itself. Then they rent the casks to some Spanish sherry bodegas, small companies that make their sherry, and then Edmonton gets them back and they're shipped to Scotland, where the Macallan and Highland Park and perhaps some of their other distilleries can use for probably for 100 years or so. Anyway, when you do give this time, then after about 5-10 minutes, then you'll recognize, oh yes, I can smell Macallan. This smells like Macallan. So now I'm really getting that, well, to me, something that is like fresh Haribo gummy worms. And dried fruits, dried raisins, dried cherries. Okay, so when you first stick your nose in it, you're gonna get some salted caramel. You'll get a raisins. Well, I get a raisin cinnamon pastry. I smell something like a sawmill, so really, really powerful oak. I get spices and vanilla at first. Then with time, which this has had now, I'm getting dried fruits. I'm getting some stewed red berries, a little bit of black tea, and also sweet pastries like apricot pastries or prune pastries or vina tarta. And it's got a tartness to it, again like tart cherries. Anyway, it's different, but it is lovely. On to the taste. Cheers all. This is flawless whiskey. Excellent spirit, excellent maturation, no burn whatsoever. This is as smooth can be. Now, would I prefer this at 43%? Absolutely. But, you know, they've got to start somewhere. So I think this is probably one step towards returning to full global availability. But I believe that this is going to be successful enough that it'll take a little bit of the pressure off, that they can bring this one back and probably charge a slightly higher price for it. And it would be nice to see this one definitely put out at 43%, maybe $10 more a bottle. So you've got the double cask, and then you've got the single exclusive sherry oak casks from Spain, just like it is. And I think that way they can provide a good breadth of products for people who like different things. I think there are some people that would prefer this one to the big sherry. Just it's like an explosion of sherry flavors coming from the original, the Macallan. This one, you're getting a lot more of that bake shop, pastry shop, vanilla caramel type of thing happening, in addition to having those slightly more subtle sherry fruitness that's coming through. Hopefully what I'm saying is coherent. All right, another taste here. Now it's sweet and then just ever so slightly dry. It's got a vanilla honey sweetness. Then you get the sherry fruity dryness coming through as well. So you really get an interesting juxtaposition of these two casks. The finish, it's quite long. The longest part is the dried fruits. So that typical Macallan character really carries through. And yet there's still a bit of that kind of vanilla custard. So imagine something like stewed prunes, raisins, cherries in a vanilla custard or a creme brulee with those fruits added, or in the bottom. So creme brulee with that caramel flamed sugar coating topping at the top, caramelized sugar. Then they got the vanilla custard, and then you got those dark stewed fruits there in the middle. That would be really nice, by the way. And then again, this traditional Macallan, which to me is kind of like these gummy worms, and just that nice fruitiness that I mentioned. This one really sort of glimmers through the finish. All right, let's add a little bit of water. Not much, just a couple of drops. There we are. Now, for the nose anyway, I really feel like adding a few drops of water is what you should do. So to the people who think that they have to drink their whiskey the way it's made, you're missing out, so give it a try, at least once. 2 drops, see what happens. It's not going to hurt it. See, now again, with the water added, I feel like I'm getting another step closer to the traditional Macallan flavor, the traditional Macallan distillery style. And I write here, this is where it's at. Can't even read my own writing sometimes. This is where it's at. Elegantly spiced Christmas pudding with a salty bourbon caramel sauce. And then I write also big time chocolate. Yeah. Christmas pudding with a bourbon caramel sauce. It's exactly what it smells like to me. I think I might try to make that. I think that sounds pretty amazing. Chocolate. Yeah, a nice, say 70% dark chocolate. Perhaps one that has some salt flecks in it. Slightly raspberry note coming through as well, a fresh raspberry. All right, on to the palate. Oh, we forgot the ads. Well, I put that right here. All right, welcome back. On to the palate with water. This is the Macallan Double Cask, 40% 12-year-old. You will really feel the European oak casks shining through with water. I write here, slightly waxy mouth feel. Very tart cherry or raisin liqueur. Lollipops. In the finish, you got a little bit of this cherry cough syrup going on. And you really feel, I mean, after having the Cutty Sark, which is right here, you really feel that fullness of the pot still effect. Whether that's more copper contact or, yeah, I think it's probably likely the copper contact that you can really notice on your tongue. I really quite like that. Okay, I mentioned the finish. Just like I recall Macallan, the same lovely sweet raisin cherry dessert wininess coming through, and a mild sweeter chocolate in the finish. Yeah. Now, after drinking the Macallan, I'm going to come back to Cutty Sark for a minute. And I should probably clear my palate with a little bit of water. Let's see how that stacks up. This has gotten really caramelly after the half hour it's been sitting. And yet, honestly, I can smell some of the Macallan coming through in the Cutty Sark Storm. You know what? When you go this way, Macallan to the Cutty Sark, it's really sweet. And it's really subtle and very smooth. And the finish is, it's like just slightly smokier, and yet still very, very delicious. You can tell it's a little younger. It's still top quality though. Back to the Macallan. Much more sweetness on the tip of the tongue. A little bit more tarty juiciness. Much drier, in fact. Anyway, so that is the Macallan Double Cask. Now, I have not written down a score for this one yet, so let's go ahead and do that. For the Double Cask, I really like the nose. The palate is very good. The finish is also quite nice. We'll add it up. All right, for the nose, I'm going to give it 23 out of 25. 21 for the palate. 22 for the finish. And for the balance / character, it'll get a 21. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 87 out of 100. That's the WhiskyWhistle Whiskey score for the Macallan Double Cask. 87 out of 100. And we are going to call this the Macallan truck crashed into the French bakery. That's the nickname for this one. Macallan truck crashed into the French bakery. French patisserie, I should say. The pastry shop. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. We will have much more coming before Christmas. I'm hoping to get at least a couple more reviews in, and please stay tuned for those. In fact, I might do one more right now. Should I? It's pretty late. I think I will. Why not? I'm here, I'm ready, and well, I'm having fun. All right, so stay tuned for whiskey review number 135. We're going to go back to a particular distillery that I like quite a lot. Maybe you can guess. And that will be a special sample that was sent to me from a friend. So, goodbye.